Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Date today is the 4th of July. It's the 4th of July, year of our Lord 2020-2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motown Noah. Happy 249th birthday to the United States of America. Caca! No, sweet guitar riff. What the fuck is a kilometer? Happy birthday, America. First episode of the Coping Hour on the 4th of July. Super awesome. Next year, 250th birthday of America. Can I fill you guys in on a plan that I concocted about a week ago? Word to Bobby Shmurda. On America's birthday, we will veer credit towards Bobby Shmurda in his role in shaping the nation that we know today. I had an idea where next year, in honor of America's 250th, between January 1st and July 4th, I'm going to eat 250 hot dogs. I think I'm going to do it. Now, I've done the math. You'll have to eat like 1.5 a day, something like that. But that's easy. That's light work. Because usually if I'm eating hot dogs, I'm having at least like 3. 4 is a good sweet spot for me, right? So I don't know if I figure it just doesn't really seem like it's that. I don't think it's unreachable to eat 250 hot dogs in between January 1st and July 4th. I think that's what I'm going to do next year. But in honor of America's birthday today, we got a big show for you guys today. We got a lot of things to talk about, but it's America's birthday, so I wanted to do the polite thing here. And I wanted to, you talk about veering credit to Bobby Shmurda. I wanted to veer credit to America for at least, about 10 minutes here up at the top of the show. Contrary to maybe how I make it seem sometimes, I happen to love this country. I love being an American. I recognize that shit could be a lot worse, right? And even when I have problems with the current administration or even the previous one or the one before that, which was technically like a 1.0 of what we currently have. There hasn't been an administration that I've been chill with in almost 10 years. So, and even 10 years ago, it was just because, I don't know, being a teenager when Obama was president was awesome. It was awesome. It was probably the coolest president that I could have had during my formative years, right? People love to do, I think we've even done it on the show, but he loved to use drone strikes. Yeah, but at this point, you know what I mean? That sort of seems like more of a minor offense compared to what we've seen in the last 10 years, not just from the United States government, but from elsewhere. So I say all of this just to say, I actually do love this country, and I wanted to start today's show by just, doing a really soft power rankings of the 10 things that I love the most about America, and that I'm proud to be an American for. Now, if I were a lesser host, if I were a hack, I would use this opportunity to be tongue-in-cheek, to be ironic. And here are my 10 favorite things about America. I say things like healthcare. Oh, love our healthcare. Love that I haven't had a doctor's visit since 2017. A real statistic, a real personal statistic. By the way, those police sirens, if you can hear them, they're me. They're not you. Don't worry, you're safe. I would say something like that. I would say something about mass shootings. I would say something, but I'm not. I'm not going to do that because, again, 249 years of America being America. That's pretty cool. So, without further ado, folks, the 10 things that I love the most about America. In no particular order outside of the first one that I'm listing. This is number 1. Hot dogs. Hot dogs. Now, before any of you, actually, bitches, go down to the comments and try to tell me that we did not invent hot dogs. We didn't. America did not invent hot dogs. We perfected them. It ain't about who did it first. It's about who did it right. In the wise words of, I believe, Aubrey Graham, who is also not American. Hot dogs. I think they're the best thing. Truly an American tradition. I mean, hey, the day this is releasing, the hot dog eating contest back on the menu in Coney Island. Joey Chestnut back on the menu in the hot dog eating contest after taking last year off. He was banned or he quit or something because of a Sort of, wasn't it like a Kobayashi situation where it was like a vegan partnership that he had? I don't care. Joey Chestnut is back. Hot dog eating contest back. Yeah, hot dogs. There's just nothing better. If you've listened to the show for a while, I don't really need to explain this one any further. Big hot dog guy here. Number 2, I'm going to go with Leonardo DiCaprio. Pound for pound, the greatest actor I think that has ever lived. But if you wanted to strip that of its hyperbole, you could just say of the last 30 years, and I think that you would still be right. You could throw guys on here like Tom Hanks. Would also love to see Tom Hanks on this list, but unfortunately I can only pick one actor. I wanted to go all of Hollywood broadly. Like, how about just dominating the globe in terms of culture that your country produces? I thought that was maybe a little bit unfair, so I just went with Leonardo DiCaprio. Probably not a more box office actor that we have in our culture. And has a new movie coming out later this year. Paul Thomas Anderson directs One Battle After Another. Very excited to see that. Very excited for that movie to be my entire personality. Can't really imagine there being a better time for a movie like that to come out where Leo plays a political revolutionary. I think that movie's going to be really good. I don't like Paul Thomas Anderson movies, just famously. I don't think they're very good. I think There Will Be Blood was kind of an anomaly. And all that really had to do with was the fact that Daniel Day-Lewis had the single greatest performance that any actor has literally ever had. It had nothing to do with the fact that Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, wrote it and then obviously also directed it. I thought Licorice Pizza sucked. One Battle After Another, I believe, will be amazing if for no other reason than just the fact that Leo is going to be in it. Number 3, TMZ. I'm going to go with TMZ here. As a self-proclaimed comment section ass bitch, as a self-proclaimed just gossip lover. I mean, I don't know that there's really a better media organization that we have in the United States, and people have problems with them all the time because of how invasive they can be, and giving us information, very, very intimate details about certain stories or certain situations that maybe the public doesn't need to know. I don't care. Would be my response to anybody. Anytime anybody ever gets mad at TMZ, I usually just say I don't care. As a kid, you go to the grocery store and you sit in line waiting to check out, and what else are you supposed to look at? There's, they have all of these tabloids nearby. That's what I love. So we're gonna throw TMZ on here. I think truly one of the more crucial pillars of American media. TMZ. Up next. This one was tough. So originally it was just the Midwest. I think it's the most heartful region that we have in the United States. I think it's the most important region that we have in the United States. I wanted to go a little bit more specific. I did just say Chicago. I wanted to put the mitten on here. I wanted to put Michigan on here. And I do believe that Michigan is the best state in the United States. But if I had to go with a city, I think Chicago is just the best city in America. As somebody who's lived here for in a month from literally right now, it'll be 6 years that I've lived in Chicago. So a decent chunk of change. I'm 27, so what's that, like a fifth of my life that I've lived in the same place? I feel comfortable saying Chicago, best city in America, best architecture in America, best food in America. I would accept some pushback on that one, but best architecture, hands down, I think, here in Chicago. Up next, Team USA basketball. Yeah, I didn't forget what happened last year in the Olympics. I didn't forget about that. I didn't forget that we had moments where, as a spectator, all you wanted to see were guys like KD, LeBron, and Steph, like, go get theirs and win the game for the United States. And we had that against Serbia. And for a sport that, the United States has been caught up to by a good handful of other countries. You think about Spain or France or Germany or I don't know who's another one. I'm not going to put Slovenia or Serbia in there. Like, dog, they have one guy. Or Serbia, I think, has one of the Bogdanoviches too. I don't remember, but basketball is the world's game at this point. It's not just the United States. And so now when we go into the Olympics, there is even more pressure for the United States to bring home the gold than there ever has been. And this previous year, really meant a lot to me that they actually did. And it is truly, I think, one of the more exciting Olympic events that I watch. I don't think there's anything, summer or winter Olympics that gets me as jazzed as USA basketball does. But it's not really the same when it's FIBA. Still very exciting, and it still matters to me. I still care a lot. But it's you know what I mean? Like the FIBA World Cup versus the Olympics. What do you think I'm going to pick? Regardless, Team USA basketball, I think, deserves a spot on this list. It was originally I was just going to say LeBron. But I was like, no, because then there's like, oh, you could have just said Jordan, or you could have said Steph, or you could have said Katie. You could say anybody. I just figured if we go blanketed broadly, Team USA basketball. Up next, the internet. I'm going to go with the internet. Things that America invented, things that I'm thankful that America is responsible for harboring and delivering unto our world. Now, some of you history buffs out there may know this, that technically there's a little bit of an asterisk on this. Switzerland invented the World Wide Web, the www dot internet that we know it to be today. That is true. They did it on the back of American research. There was like it was a digital message that was sent from, it was sent back and forth between Stanford and UCLA back in the 60s, I think. So technically we laid the foundation for the internet, but it was Switzerland that, sort of evolved it to what we know it to be today. But you know how we do things on this show. That was us. That was actually us. I would say that the internet is more American than the Statue of Liberty. Because the Statue of Liberty is, first of all, it's French. But it also, hold on. What do I mean by this? What do I mean by what I was about to say that I technically haven't said out loud yet? I was going to say, technically, if it symbolizes immigration, then it can't be American. But that's not true, because without immigration, then America wouldn't be what it is today. Like, when you hear people talk about, like, ideal demographics or, like, what the official demographic of the United States is, there's not really one. I mean, I'm sure racially there is, like, a makeup of, it's not really disproportionate. I don't really... Where I'm going with this is America very much is a cultural melting pot. Like, I think that is the country's identity, is that we don't really have, like if you go to Norway or you go to Switzerland, you go to Sweden, like, you kind of know what you're going to see. You kind of know what color people's eyes are going to be, and you kind of know what color most people's hair is going to be. And that's not to say there's not diversity, because of course there is. But like in America, if you pick 10 random people, they're all going to look completely different. So the internet, we are all as connected as we are, thanks to, America. Up next, live television. Yeah, I mean, the first live broadcast was in California. We sort of, I think, miss in a lot of ways the excitement of live television and the appointment viewing of live television. Unless it's like sporting events, then of course we're all watching the same things. But sports can't really be monoculture. And I think that's one thing that streaming has kind of taken away from us is monoculture. Where, yes, there will be lots and lots and lots of people, like millions of people, who may be watching the same thing, like kind of at the same time, like within like 6 to 12 to 24 hours of each other, like millions of people will watch the same thing. But like if you went back 15 years ago, sure, like TiVo was a thing, and like on demand was a thing, so people could watch stuff after the fact. But in a lot of ways, like 15 years ago, it's not really good enough of an example. 20 years ago, there was kind of one way to TiVo existed 20 years ago. Just say what you're trying to say, dude. Don't try to. I'm like detracting from shit that I'm trying to say before I actually say it. I think live television is awesome. It's cool. I miss it. I miss it in ways that was not just about sports. Because again, that's not the same thing. Now, monoculture is harder to achieve because there are so many different subcultures and so many different inside jokes for those subcultures. And the internet is so big and it's so vast. Again, thanks to America for laying the foundation, and thanks to Switzerland for really igniting the Tinder here. But there are so many places that you can exist digitally that the odds of everybody getting in on one thing, it's just lower. You have like House of the Dragon. When that comes out, a lot of people watch it. A lot of people watch Severance. Love Island is going on. That's the thing. Everybody's watching Love Island. Not me, not at home, right? So it's not real monoculture because I'm not watching it. But we'll go with live television. The NFL. How about that one? Throw the NFL on there. It's a layup. Don't think I need to explain that one. You could throw in like college football too. You could argue in some ways it's more American than the NFL is, but it's really hard to argue that any of the four major sports here in the United States are more American than the United States. When you think about the like military integration that's involved, it's 10 times that of any of its counterparts. So I'll just keep that one brief. It's the NFL. Come on, brother. Up next, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. You're welcome for that, everybody. You're welcome for Coca-Cola. We didn't have to do that. Just on some real, for the love of the game, wanting to give everybody a delicious beverage to enjoy on a hot summer day. People in Europe right now, oh, we don't have AC. That you know what? And there's something I should have put on here was air conditioning. A lot of jokes going around right now about anytime people in Europe, but specifically the United Kingdom, bitch about the heat. And they're like, oh my God, it's bloody 20 Celsius outside. Which is like 80 degrees. It's like 100 degrees today here, and I had AC. I don't know. Ice in your beverages. How about that? That's, again, more of a European thing where they're just like, oh, ice in your beverage. Oh, what? We'll put a lot of ice. In our things. No air conditioning, no ice. We got both of those things over here. We also have Coca-Cola. Ever fucking heard of it? Caca! Sick guitar riff. And last but not least, now I did consult the Brain Trust on this list. Maddie, the mother of my child, my girlfriend, she wanted me to put this last one on here, and I think there's some merit to it. Vogue. We're gonna put Vogue on here. We're gonna go with Vogue. If you've ever wanted to know what the modern day it girl is supposed to look like, I believe Vogue would be where you should direct your attention. What are people wearing these days? I would again direct you to Vogue. What's the lingo these days? I would once again direct you to Vogue. What shutter speeds are we using, photographers? I would direct you to Vogue. Are we going high contrast, low exposure? Maybe vice versa. What are we doing with our cameras? I would direct you to Vogue. Yeah, all roads kind of lead back to Vogue, I think, is where this is going. Anna Wintour recently stepping down or died. What happened to her? They're finding her replacement on LinkedIn. So if you want to run Vogue, go tap in on LinkedIn. Those are my 10 favorite things about being an American. Spent about 8.5 minutes longer on it than I wanted to. But I'll go over it one more time. Hot dogs, Leonardo DiCaprio, TMZ, Chicago / the Midwest, Team USA basketball, the internet, live TV, the NFL, Coca-Cola, and Vogue. That's pretty good. Some honorable mentions, drive-thrus. America invented drive-thrus. You're welcome for that. We didn't have to do that. But we did. You're welcome. McDonald's, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with drive-thrus and also Coca-Cola. But we did also invent McDonald's. Another thing that we didn't have to do. You're welcome for that. Any other honorable mentions that I want to throw out there? I mean, I could do other brands or I could do other actors or things like that. But okay, folks. So this was the first week of free agency in the NBA. And I got to tell you, I almost recorded the show a couple days early because there was so much coming out that I was a little bit worried that I was going to get avalanched in this show. And we still might. And to the point where I don't really know where to start with this. I will say we have to do the Pistons last. We have to do the Pistons last because I think the context of the entire week is important in what my train of thought has been. So So where do I want to start with this? I mean, what blew my mind the day that free agency opened was that Denver traded Michael Porter Jr. to Brooklyn for Cam Johnson. Denver also had to include, I believe, a 2032 unprotected first-round pick. Now, blew my mind because, Denver actually gave up on Michael Porter Jr., but then you realize why they gave up on him is because they got Cam Johnson. I guess I don't really know how to say this. I mean, look, I think to get ahead of myself here, the week that Denver has had has certainly, like, catapulted them in the conversation. To the extent that it's like, you're kind of like, whoa, like Denver's front office, like, good morning. It's nice to see you guys again. It's been like 2.5 years that you guys have kind of sat on your hands and gotten lapped by the league like twice. And now here they are going after Cam Johnson, going after Bruce Brown. And essentially, there was a deal with Valanciunas. There's something weird going on with that, where he might actually go to Europe, and so he might not be. Well, I don't know what's going on with that. The Nuggets have saved money this summer and still gotten better. Now, what's kind of pissed me off a little bit about this Michael Porter Jr. thing, rather than the Cam Johnson thing, because the Michael Porter Jr. stuff specifically we'll talk about in a second, but I guess I'm a little whelmed. Because for 2 years of, hey, Cam Johnson is like, that's 3 firsts. That's 3 firsts. If you want him, that's 3 firsts. And I think we all kind of thought that the reason that he hadn't been moved yet was because Brooklyn, for whatever their price was, sorry if I bumped the mic there and it picked up, whatever Brooklyn's price was, clearly it was too much for people, and they didn't want to pay it, whether it was 3 first-round picks or whatever. But that was a number that we had heard before. I guess I'm just kind of like, oh, so it finally happened, and he got moved for Michael Porter Jr. and 1 unprotected first-round pick that will not. It's 7 years from now. Huh? It's a 2032 unprotected first-round pick. Neither of these guys are going to be in the NBA in 7 years. Nikola Jokic will not be in the NBA in 7 years. Sean Marks might not be the GM in 7 years. Right? Joseph Tsai may have sold the team by then. I don't know. 7 years from now, we're gambling on it's not a gamble. That's the wrong word to use. I'm just saying, like, it's for damn sure better leave it unprotected. It's 7 years from now. So Cam Johnson went for that pick. And Michael Porter Jr., his hair sucks, his beard sucks. When he can shoot, he can really shoot, but like, yeah, I don't know. His back sucks. He went to Missouri for like 1 game. That sucks. I just really question his judgment. You know, like, look, we just sort of exited Gemini season like a week and a half ago, but like, the one thing that Kendrick Lamar and I have in common is that we are both Gemini, which means that I really identify with his ability to hate the way that he does. On some real, like, euphoria shit, Michael Porter Jr. I hate the way that he walks. I hate the way that he talks. I hate the way that he dresses. I hate all of the shit. I don't like Michael Porter Jr. And it just rubs me the wrong way that he got, like, put some respect on Cam Johnson's name. You know what I mean? It bothers me. But then you look at this Denver team and, whoa. Suddenly they're kind of in the mix. So, okay, shout out to Denver. I like it for them. I like Cam Johnson. I guess I'm just bummed that I don't really know how to say this. I guess I'm just bummed that, like, Michael Porter Jr., I don't know. Michael Porter Jr. on this new Brooklyn Nets team with, like, they just drafted 4 guards, 4 of them. I mean, whatever, man. They also got Tim Hardaway Jr. on like a vet minimum. What? I mentioned this already, but you bring Bruce Brown back. Denver, it really was, again, like a wow. Good morning. Nice to see you guys again. Nice to see you guys doing something for Nikola Jokic. What came after that? I think we just got to do it. I think we got to do it, folks. I'm going to give you a take, and then I think we're going to reverse engineer it. And I'll, kind of walk myself through it. I think John Horst is the best GM in basketball. I think he's the best general manager that we have in the NBA. And if he's not the best, then I think he is dedicated to doing well by his star player in a way that I have never seen before in my life. So the first thing that really came out about Milwaukee this offseason after free agency opened was Brook Lopez departing and going to the Clippers. Really sad. It really stinks, but it wasn't like a surprise. I think every Bucks fan with a brain was kind of like, it is time. Every relationship has its end. And I think with Brook Lopez, we're just kind of there. And, he goes to the Clippers 2 years, $18 million. And going into, 19? This is going to be year 18 or 19 for him. And, Splash Mountain gave Milwaukee a ton of good memories. And he was even though remember when he was getting murdered in the drop against Brooklyn, and Budenholzer just wouldn't change anything because he was so damn stubborn. Didn't matter. Didn't matter because Milwaukee ended up winning a championship, and Brook Lopez was an integral piece of that. And I think there's honestly an argument to be made. I'm not even being funny here that 11 could get retired in Milwaukee one day. I think he was that meaningful to them, right? Especially even if it wasn't on the court. I know how much Brook Lopez meant to Bucks fans. And so stinks for him to go, but again, it was kind of just yeah, it's time. Now the real meat and potatoes here was when we all saw that the Bucks signed Miles Turner. 4 years, $107 million. What? Now, if you were at home, rubbing your eyes like a goddamn Looney Tunes character, then I can't imagine what happened about, I don't know, what was it, an hour after that, if it was even that long, when the news came across all of our desks that the Milwaukee Bucks decided to stretch and waive Damian Lillard, the remaining $113 million on his contract. It's going to be stretched over the next couple of years. And Dame will be free to rehabilitate from his ruptured Achilles and then sign with whoever he wants to sign with, right? Okay. All right. Now, this is where we get into the John Horst business. John Horst, general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks, has once again shown that, it doesn't matter if their back is against the wall. He will make something happen, and he will shake up the roster. He will get Giannis something. He'll get him something. They re-signed Kevin Porter Jr. Yeah. We kept hearing for the last few weeks, Giannis is closely monitoring all of these personnel moves that Milwaukee makes. Shams even popped up during the NBA draft to mention that. The Bucks it's the 45th pick in the draft. And Shams is Giannis is monitoring this closely. Really? Is he? He's got an eye on what happens in the mid to late second round? I don't know. Part of me started to feel I'm never going to say that Shams is lying just for the sake of creating television. That's not a thing that happens the way that people accuse him of it. It's not a thing that happens, right? But it is weird to me, some of the shit that he says. What was equally weird was Damian Lillard gets stretched and waived, and Chris Haynes comes out, the mouthpiece for Damian Lillard, and was Dame was blindsided by this. Or not blindsided by this. I think he said that Giannis was pissed about this. And then there was some other conflicting reports about did Dame know about this ahead of time? Did Dame not know about this ahead of time? Is Dame happy about this? Is Dame mad about this? I still, to be honest with you, as of this taping, all this shit happened 3 days ago. I still don't really know what's real and what's not real. But what I would imagine is real is that Damian Lillard is whatever, I'm getting paid still. It's not I'm forfeiting all of that money. I mean, maybe some of it, but I'm getting paid most of that money over the next few years, And while that's going on, while I'm still getting paid, I'll be rehabbing. And then even after I get back and sign with a different team for an undisclosed amount of money, a TBD amount of money, I'll still be getting a shit ton of money from Milwaukee. And instead, I'll just be playing for whatever team I want to play for. That seems like a pretty sweet deal to me. If you're Damian Lillard. I don't know. That seems like a pretty cool deal. Now, it stinks the way that everything has gone for him since he got to Milwaukee and how it just kind of hasn't really worked. First year, it was like, oh, is he bad? Is he not good anymore? And then, like, does the fit not really work? And then this last year, it was like, oh, okay. And was it the first year that they won the NBA Cup? Or was it this year that they won the NBA Cup? Who fucking cares? Bucks fans on Reddit act like that shit matters. I mean, hey, who knows? If the Pistons win it one day, maybe I'll act like it does. But it just rubbed me the wrong way when, people were like, oh, well, he got some hardware while he was here and blah, blah, blah. You think he gives a fuck that he won the in-season tournament? Act like you guys did him a solid. I mean, you did him a solid by letting him go and just paying him the rest of his contract. And again, he's free to go wherever he wants. But I don't know, man. Where I'm going with all this, and I'm kind of fumbling all of it, is like, we spent how many months being like, I think it's going to happen. I do think it's going to be this year that Giannis gets moved. Because you look at Milwaukee and their capital strapped and like their salary strapped and they're into the umpteenth apron and there's nothing that they can do. Their hands are completely tied. There's nothing that they can do. So it's like Giannis is closely monitoring the Bucks what they do with their personnel, what they do with their roster. It's like, what do you want them to? There's nothing that they can even do. So it's like, if you want them to trade you, just fucking ask for it. Explicitly, just ask for it, Giannis. He didn't. I guess he just didn't, because John Horst finds a way every single time that it feels like there's some pressure coming from Giannis and his camp. John Horst does the Drew Holiday trade. He does the Damian Lillard trade. Or he waives Damian Lillard and stretches his contract and signs Miles Turner. A guy, by the way, who spent the last 10 years dodging trade rumors. And the one offseason that we were like, they just went to the finals. Like, yeah, he had a weird series, but Miles Turner is not going anywhere. Now he goes somewhere? Holy shit. What? Now, it's not, it really doesn't feel the same to me as the Damian Lillard trade or the Drew Holiday trade, where you think that it propels Milwaukee into whatever echelon. But it's like, you have guys like Brian Windhorst coming out and, all of these quote unquote smart basketball people, and they just hate this move by Milwaukee. Even Bill Simmons doesn't like it. It's like, the quote from Windhorst was something to the effect of Milwaukee just took a loan out on they took a loan out. They mortgaged their mortgage, I think is what he says. They mortgaged their mortgage to buy a sports car. And this is dumb and it's not going to work. And I'm like, okay, let's say Milwaukee mortgaged their mortgage to buy a sports car. It's like, well, if my supermodel wife said, if you don't mortgage a mortgage to get this sports car, I'm going to leave you, I would fucking do the same thing. You know what I mean? It bothers me when it's like, oh, well, if you just trade Giannis, then you can kind of reset this thing, and in a few years, who knows where you'll be. In 5 years, you're not going to draft another Giannis. I don't care, how many picks you get. I don't care how many valuable picks or players that you get. You're not going to find another Giannis. And so when I say that John Horst is the best GM in basketball, I just think it's an unwavering loyalty to the fans. This is a fans GM right here. This is a guy who knows what he has. And he's like, if we lose him, it could be I was going to say forever until we get another guy like this. It could be for never until you get a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. And so you can be mad about what it does to their, I don't know. I was going to say you can be mad about what it does to their future flexibility or whatever the fuck. Clearly it doesn't matter. This team was dead in the water. Now they're like, fine. Like, okay, like, they'll be fine. They'll be a good team. They'll be about as good of a team as they could possibly be. If you're a Bucks fan, like, what's another domino that you want to fall? Are you trying to get off the Kuzma contract? Are you trying to see, like, what that can turn into? I don't know. I think maybe that would probably be worth just, like, riding out. And I know that he was good for, like, a week in Milwaukee, and then he sucked for the rest of the year. Outside of that, I don't know. I just think it is so damn admirable that John Horst invents ways, seemingly, to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee. And, this Damian Lillard move, waving and stretching him, wouldn't have happened if Giannis didn't know. They wouldn't be doing this shit if Giannis didn't know, because it is literally for him. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe we'll get blindsided, and in 2 weeks Giannis will get moved, and the Miles Turner move was just like he's gonna be. I'm just inventing a scenario that's not even real, so I'm not even gonna keep doing it. But I don't know. Shockingly impressed with Milwaukee and their ability to continue to retool. To continue to show Giannis, like, we will keep murdering this roster and keep flipping this roster if it means you'll stay. And if you're a Bucks fan, there's what else that you can ask for? I mean, that's the guy that you want to root for the rest of your life. The general manager of your favorite basketball team has repeatedly shown that he will do anything that he can to keep him around. I think that's really admirable. Gary Harris, another name actually that Milwaukee went and signed. So I don't really think that's not going to matter. But actually, it's interesting if you look at it through the lens of, like, Miles Turner being a guy that you thought would never get pried away until the moment that you thought that he was safe in Indiana, and then he wasn't, and then he went to Milwaukee. Gary Harris, another guy that I was just kind of like, I thought you were just going to be in Orlando until you, like, were out of the league. Let's see. What else do we have here? I don't know. The Lakers are doing weird things. DeAndre Ayton got bought out, and that was a whole thing. He's missed like 100 games in the last 2 years. And so now the Lakers have Luka and Ayton, which is so from the same draft class. It would be funny if they got Bagley too. I think if the Lakers were able to get Bagley, and then this full circle, like the reason Luka didn't go to Sacramento was because Vlade hated Luka's dad, and they got Bagley instead. Somehow I don't know, those two players ending up on the same team would be funny. Ayton and Luka on the same team, very, very funny. There's been a lot of, are you going to call them whispers? I don't really know if you can call them whispers. Is LeBron getting traded? What is this? What's going on? What is this? It is kind of that time of year where we do like our, LeBron needs attention thing. And, like, it never amounts to anything unless, he's going to Miami, or he was going back to Cleveland, or he was going to Los Angeles. But that's, like, 3 instances. Like, there haven't been that many other things that have, like, actually happened other than, like, I don't know. The Kevin Love trade was a big deal, but we knew it was going to happen for, like, a month. There just needed to be, like, a deadline that passed so Andrew Wiggins could actually get traded. The T's had been crossed and the I's had been dotted. We were just waiting for, like, a date to get here. We knew the Kevin Love thing was going to happen. The Anthony Davis trade, like, yeah, that was a big deal, and that was kind of in the works for, like, a year and a half. I don't know. Do you guys remember when there was, like, for 2.5 years, there were rumors that Ray Allen was going to join the Cavs for LeBron's second stint? It never actually happened. I don't know. We're just kind of at that point where it's like, we got to fucking talk about LeBron and, like, what he's going to do. So he accepts a player option worth, like, $50+ million. And then Rich Paul puts out a statement where he's like, yeah, LeBron wants to compete for a championship and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay. It's like, okay. Another instance of like LeBron is closely monitoring what the Lakers do with the roster. And then as soon as you saw the DeAndre Ayton buyout, you knew that he was going to go to the Lakers. So good for them, I guess. Be interesting to see how that works out. Because the second that, at least it can't snow in Los Angeles. So Ayton can't get like stuck at his house and just like not go to the game and play video games instead. But it's like, okay, LeBron, you're the one that opted into this deal for $50+ million. And it's like, if you really were committed to the Lakers, restructuring the roster in some way, you could have opted out and then restructured your deal and taken less money. Because, like, look, I'm not trying to pocket watch, but you're a for real billionaire, like an actual billionaire. LeBron James is a billionaire playing in the NBA. So, like, I don't know. If you're that committed to winning a title, I'm not going to tell you to take the veteran minimum. But also, could you take like 30? I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there. So if he takes this and now everybody's talking about, and I'm watering a lot of this down because the truth is I don't care about it until it happens. I'm shocked that we're really talking about this. He might go to Cleveland. People think he's going to get traded to Cleveland. I've said it once. I'll say it. I said it once. I'll say it again. I've said it once. I've said this a lot. I think we're all in agreement. This will probably be LeBron's last year. Year 23. It makes too much sense. I mean, it's poetry. It's perfect. No player has ever played 23 seasons before. Could he get traded back to Cleveland? And that's kind of, he was recently golfing in Ohio and had like a welcome home hat on. People got really excited about that. Would it be funny? So like, how does this work if we entertain it for just a minute? It's like, okay, if LeBron's getting traded back to Cleveland, what's the Bronny situation? Do you think that Bronny has any say at all in whether or not he gets moved in this deal? Because, like, if he says, like, hey, this is a package deal, my son is coming with me, then obviously whoever would make this deal for LeBron would take his son. Do you think Bronny would just be like, honestly, oh, man, I don't know, this Brentwood property. You think he's living in a back house? Do you think Bronny's got his own house at this point? His own, well, not a house, but an apartment at this point? Or do you think he's in, like, LeBron's back house in Brentwood? I mean, who knows? I mean, if I'm him, it's like, I don't know, I spent like most of my, I don't want to do a whole segment about like what an awesome life Bronny James has had, but like, I don't know, like he grew up in Cleveland and like his dad was awesome. And then did they all move down to Florida with him? I would imagine they did. It would be really weird if they didn't. And then he just like went to Los Angeles and like went to USC, played a shit ton of games, video games. I mean, joined Optic maybe, had a heart attack, got drafted in the NBA. And then, like, he's just, like, kind of hooping now, like, in the G League. Like, I don't know. That's pretty cool. I think the Lakers and the Mavs, I think it's their first summer league game that it'll be, like, Bronny versus Cooper Flag, which is really funny. I don't know. Do you think you know what? And I'm honestly disappointed that as I'm saying all this out loud that I'm even talking about it. Because I don't care, and it really is one of those stories until it happens. Maybe we'll cover it more then, despite the fact that I've spent the last 3-4 minutes talking about it here. I guess I'm just like, what is... look, I'm very protective of LeBron's legacy. As somebody who has grown up, I've really only ever known the NBA with LeBron. A lot of you out there listening to this will be the same. Even if you're my age, like, I don't know, once I became, like, conscious of basketball, I was 5 years old when LeBron got drafted. So, like, literally, he's been my entire life, right? And so I just kind of, like, I don't feel insecure about the GOAT debate because, like, to me, he's the greatest player I've ever seen, and I reject the history that came before it. And so I don't care if somebody was better before him. He's the best that I've ever seen, which is why I say it the way that I say it. I say it the way that I do, right? Well, Jordan never got traded, though. He didn't get traded. He signed with the Wizards, so he didn't. How do you do that? quantify that value? Because that's not really going to be a great, like, what do you really give up for LeBron in 1 year? Well, before you would have thought it was like Jared Allen. If it's Cleveland, right? It's like, okay, Jared Allen has to be in the deal because money and also because the Lakers need a center. Well, now it's like, okay, well, you signed DeAndre Ayton and you brought back Jackson Hayes. Two, like, pretty funny goofball moves. I just don't know what it looks like. Is DeAndre Hunter in the deal? Like, I don't know what it looks like, and so I just think it's gonna end up being gross. And I think it also will eventually, when people strip it of its context, will not be reflective of like what LeBron's value actually is. Because what's different with LeBron than like any other player that has literally ever played in the NBA ever is you can do the thing where you're like, oh, well, he's 100 years old. It's like, yeah, but if you watched the Lakers last year and you didn't know anybody on the team's like age, you didn't know how old any of them were, your takeaway would have been for 95% of the season, LeBron was the best player on the court, right? Despite the fact that he was 39. He was born in 1984. He's 40. He's fucking 40. And he was the best player on the team, right? I don't know. I guess we're doing the thing where we're pretending that LeBron might get traded, and maybe he will, but I just can't believe that we're actually entertaining it, and I'm going to be I can't believe that LeBron's been in LA as long as he has, and honestly, I think it's been for the worse in his career, and has really bothered me. But, okay, folks, so this is the part of the show where we get to the Pistons. Now, the reason that I wanted to save them for last is because we've watched a lot of teams around the NBA this week make a lot of moves, and specifically in the East. Like, the way that we've talked about the Pistons in the last 2 or 3 weeks is it sounds like they are comfortable with, for the most part, running it back, and anything that they do with their roster will be, like, any tweaks will be on the margins, right? We'll see what happens with Hardaway. Well, he went to Denver, so now you got to get his replacement. We'll see what happens with Schroeder. Well, he went to Sacramento, so it's like, okay, you got to get his replacement. You imagined that they were going to re-sign Malik Beasley. They were certainly in the process of doing that, and then the feds got involved, and Malik Beasley essentially forfeited a 3-year, $42 million contract extension because he rather would have gotten, how do I say this? He would have rather gotten sued by a marketing agency, a barber, a dentist, and gotten investigated by the Department of Justice than get a $42 million contract extension. We'll talk a little bit about Malik at the end of this. So, okay, so there's some stuff that they got to do, some holes that they got to plug. And especially in an Eastern Conference where there's going to be no Dame, no Jason Tatum, and no Tyrese Halliburton next year, there was a part of you that felt kind of bad that they weren't like making any big swings. And okay, so you're just complacent with like seeing what these young guys got and just seeing how much that they can improve. And like, you know, not to repeat myself because we've talked about it a lot lately, but with that, in that Knicks series, you were without Jaden Ivey and Isaiah Stewart. So like, I don't know, like, it's not unreasonable to think that the team could actually just be good without doing anything drastic, right? Like nothing happened that should necessarily make the Pistons desperate, but it's not about desperation. It's more about like seizing an opportunity. And so I started to sweat a little bit. This is why I wanted to save the Pistons for the end, because I think the context of like what Milwaukee did matters, right? Like they didn't make the moves that they did, like waiving and stretching Dame and signing Miles Turner and like re-signing Bobby Portis and Kevin Porter Jr. and going and getting Gary Harris and shit like that. Like they didn't necessarily do it because there's sort of like a door cracking open in the East. They did it specifically because of Giannis, right? Which is admirable, and it was the right thing to do. But I saw a team that had zero flexibility still make shit happen. And in those first 24 hours when the moratorium opens in free agency, naturally, it is when you see the highest volume, the highest flurries of action in the NBA. And so when your team is the one that's like kind of not really doing anything, you get a little bit antsy. That antsiness, those feelings of anxiety were quelled momentarily when the Pistons went after Karis LeVert, 2-year, $29 million contract. He shot the ball the best that he's literally ever shot the ball in his life this past season, between Cleveland and Atlanta. And it's fun. As a guy who has always liked Karis LeVert, I was able to write about him when I was a blogger for nothingbutnets.com when I was writing for the Brooklyn Nets. Karis had just signed a 3-year, $52.5 million contract with Brooklyn, and so I got to watch a lot of his games, and I sort of understood what the experience was, and I just kind of was like, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be for me, but what I like about it is the Pistons. John Beilein, former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines men's basketball team, is like a special assistant, a consultant, an advisor. I don't know what his official title is for the Pistons. Dog, we went after Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. How much influence do you think John Beilein has? He literally just was like, what if we got my guys? What if we just got my guys? And so, I don't know. Okay, I mean, I sort of blew the lid off of the Duncan Robinson thing. Not too much build up there. Those were the two names. Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson that the Pistons went after. Also re-signed Paul Reed. Traded Simone Fontecchio to Miami. The deal for Duncan Robinson was a sign and trade. The deal with Duncan, 3 years, $48 million. On the surface, medium fine contract. When you get into the nitty-gritty of it, second year partially guaranteed, third year non-guaranteed. So they got him on a great contract, super movable. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it's not a big deal. I've always thought Duncan Robinson was a guy whose numbers were better than he was, and is like capable of just being MIA for a month. But in a vacuum, I don't think those two are like the worst replacements. I think like if you're signing Duncan Robinson or Karis LeVert and you're expecting them to supplement the production that Malik Beasley had last year, you're gonna have a bad time. Like I don't know if that's like replicatable what Malik Beasley did last year. But I do think they did a good job of getting like the two guys who are stabilizers in the second unit. Both of those guys can create for themselves. Duncan Robinson, sneaky, like decent to good defender. I'm happy about both of these moves. But I guess I don't know what it is. I guess I'm still kind of waiting for I'm still waiting for my head to get blown off a little bit by like something that Detroit does, because there is a lot of faith being put in the sort of like, I guess, the core of this team, right? Like, I don't think Cade is just magically going to become a 40% three-point shooter. Like, I think for his whole career, he will be fine at best at shooting threes, which is fine, as long as you're surrounding him with a guy like specifically Duncan Robinson. I guess I don't know what it is. I think for the first 24 hours, it was easy for Pistons fans to feel like Trajan was getting lapped a little bit. You see guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker go off the board. You see guys like Luke Kennard go off the board. I was getting a little bit nervous. I mean, I'm a little confused on where we're at in the Dennis Schroeder piece of this whole thing, because the moratorium, I believe, closes on the 6th. Someone can correct me on that. What it sounds like is that Detroit and Sacramento, what was originally just Dennis going to Sacramento, was then rumored to be a sign and trade and potentially Malik Monk coming back to Detroit. Then the report was that was off the table, not happening anymore. As of this taping, the most recent report is that they are still trying to explore something happening there. Malik Monk needs a new home, and it would make a lot of sense if he came to Detroit. Because if you're trying to, like if this was Moneyball and you're trying to, recreate Malik Beasley in the aggregate, Well, Malik Monk, Duncan Robinson, and Karis LeVert, like those are three. That's pretty much how you do it. That's pretty much how you do it, and the dollar amount that's attached to them also pretty much how you do it. You got some depth there. I don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling. I really don't. Okay, so here's another question. Aren't Ivy and Dern eligible for extensions? Should I just be like more patient? Should I just chill out a little bit and not get antsy about that? I'll wait. I will be patient. That's fine. I just want to make sure that are we good there? I mean, if they don't extend Ivy, that's fine. But just trade him. But Dern, I was wondering the Naz Reid contract. What was it? 5 for like 125 ballpark, somewhere in there. Is that Jalen Duren? Is that what he gets? Is like 5 for 125? I have no idea. And likewise, I have no idea what Jaden Ivey is supposed to get. I got nothing. I don't know. I'm watching this Pistons team. I'm getting anxious, and then I'm like fine, and then I'm getting anxious again, and then I'm fine, and then I'm getting anxious again, and then I'm fine. So I think really I just need to be at peace with the fact that I don't think they got better. I think they're just like kind of the same team, unless Trajan's right and like Cade gets a lot better, and not a lot better, just like a little bit better, and Darren gets a little bit better, and Asar gets a little bit better. Because even Asar, like last summer, like couldn't really do like his workouts because he was still recovering from the blood clots. So, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of variables here, but I guess I'm kind of just rolling with the punches until like January, when you would imagine that Trajan Langdon will have collected enough data points on the guys that we do have, and like maybe what's the, like a year and a half ago when Indiana traded for Pascal Siakam, and that kind of ended up being like what put them over the edge. Who does that player end up being for Detroit? It could be like a Lauri Markkanen. You know, it could be something like that. And even in that, and not to get, too off the rails here, I guess I'm pretty much done with the Pistons, but haven't really heard much on that front in terms of any team in the NBA. I haven't really heard too much about him. And then we also really haven't heard anything about Zion. I mean, both of those stories have kind of been, there's also been a bit of I don't really want to do a segment about whatever case Zion is facing right now, but I do know that Moriah Mills is sort of inserting herself in it, and has been for a couple of weeks now. Talk about things that I'm thankful to be an American for. What a hilarious national treasure woman that is, Moriah Mills. She did like I just can't believe her. She just is so damn funny. So what was it, like a month ago that this thing comes out about Zion? And again, honestly, brother, I don't remember what it was, but it was something about like assault or like sexual assault or something like that. I don't remember what it was. But I do remember TMZ, in an American institution, a crucial pillar of our media infrastructure and apparatus here in the United States. Like a guy with an iPhone walked up to Moriah Mills, who was clearly prepared for this guy to walk up. Like it was almost like a pap walk, but for sexual assault. And they were like, "Oh my God, Moriah Mills, like, isn't this Zion shit crazy?" And she's like, I just want to think about all the victims right now, including me, like myself. I'm a victim too. And I just want to say that all these women, this woman coming forward, including myself, they're very brave. I am also brave. And she's just making it about herself in a way that I think is so relatable. It's just so funny because she's just been, and you know what? I'm going to spend 15 minutes on this, and I'm going to spin the tires on it, and I'm going to know what I'm saying, but the way that it's going to come out, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, this has totally just destroyed my momentum. Every time I bring this woman up, it doesn't go well for me. Something about her is just such a transfixing presence, but in such a negative way. It's like a magnet. I think this is what it is. It's like a negative charged magnet where anytime I see Moriah Mills content, I have to watch it. But I'm so disgusted by it that I just can't help myself, and I just have to know what she's up to. Coping Hour Subs, let's do some emails. copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. Oh, this is fun. Whoa. I haven't read this, so I don't know if this is going to be a good email, but our 11-year-old field reporter, Lev, is back. Since I started taping this, has sent in an email. Now, if you missed this within the last episode or two, Lev sent us in an email, and I got upset because I had already told him before that he needs to stop using, whether it's ChatGPT or some other AI-adjacent chatbot, to send in emails. I was like, you can't do that. You have to actually write your emails, brother. I'm just glancing at this. I don't know what this is about. I think he wrote this one. This appears to be written by an 11-year-old. So we're going to gamble. I don't know what this is, but Lev, brother, welcome back to the show. Remember, you're on a yellow card right now. So if this shit is AI, I'm never going to ban you from the show, but you're going to be on hiatus. Subject line, supposedly sus guy at the park. Hello, Nick. I was hooping at the park, and there was this guy. I'll talk about him in 1 sec. There was this family selling lemonade for 75 cents a cup. This guy bought 2 of them. I know you people watch, and sometimes I do too. So I was seeing how many customers this family were going to get and how much money they were going to make. I was watching the 2 cups he was holding, and I noted in my brain that it was $1.50. He saw me looking at the cups, and I thought I would want one, So he asked the family, hey, got any lemonade? Like in the Duck song? Oh, I get what you're doing. Hey, I don't remember how it goes. I know what you're talking about. The lemonade stand, the duck, Lev. That's a good reference by you. That's a great reference. AI cannot replicate that reference. Damn it, Lev wrote this fucking email. He did it. He wrote this email. Sorry. I shouldn't say Lev wrote this fucking email. He's an 11-year-old. Lev wrote this gosh darn email. He did it. Thank you for personalizing that. Let me just keep reading it, brother. Good job. And I said to both of them that it's fine. I don't have any money with me anyways. And then he was like, well, do you want one of mine? And I said, sure, because he was giving me free lemonade and it was really hot. Then we both played some hoops. He played with some other guys, and I played with my friend. Then he asked my friend if he wanted to play chess. My friend said yes. They were playing chess, and the man won. Then I played, and he won against me as well. We were talking about different things, and one of them was how he loves girls, and that he hops from one girl to another doing, well, you know what with them since he's single. And another was about gambling. He was talking about how he loves gambling so much. I was talking to Akiva about the guy when I got back to break the email. Akiva is Lev's older brother. Back to the email. And I told him about how he likes gambling. And when we are both old enough, we should gamble together. My mom overheard me talking about the man and heard me say to Akiva that he wants me to meet him in the park sometime. My mom didn't like the sound of this. She thought he might do something bad to me. So I'm wondering, do you think he's bad by maybe him trying to act like he's a nice guy by giving me lemonade? And also that when I next meet him, he could give me a chessboard for free, just like the one he has? Sorry for the long email. By the way, I put this email into an AI detector and it says 0% AI. You can even check by putting this email into an AI detector. Looking forward to hearing from you. From Lev. Lev, I know... I don't want to say how I know that you wrote this email and that it wasn't AI. I think everybody at home knows also that this was not written by AI. And I appreciate your honesty here. I believe you. I don't need to put it through a detector. what I think is weird is that if you knew that you didn't use AI to write it, why did you put it through a detector? Why did you do that? So are you telling me that I should check your other emails? Should I check your other emails that you have sent in? That the last one that we read on the show, should I put that through an AI detector, Lev? Is that what you want me to do? What am I going to find if I do that? Do I think this is a bad guy? Well, I'm a little confused actually as to what happened here. I would say that your mom is right. And that if a guy in a park, no matter what the weather is, no matter, giving you free lemonade is nice. That's very nice of him to do that. He didn't have to do that. It's a nice thing for a stranger to do, right? Hopefully you were with, I don't know if you were with your older brother. It sounds like maybe you weren't. Hopefully you were with some other people. But it sounds like it was a public enough space that him giving you a topless beverage seems like it should have been fine. I don't know. Don't hang out with this guy. You didn't mention how old he was specifically. I imagine you don't know, but like ballpark, if he was like my age, don't ever hang out with this guy. Your mom's right. He was talking to you about how he loves girls and gambling. You're a fucking kid, bro. You're 11, Lev. Sorry, you're a kid. I mean, like, I'm not trying to do the thing, like, where, I'm not trying to, like, belittle you. I remember when I was 11, and it really bothered me when people would call me a kid, even if I knew it was right, because I just didn't like that. I wanted to be viewed a certain way, and it bothered me when people acknowledged the elephant in the room that I was a child. I'm not trying to, like, Lev, I hope you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to do stranger danger shit here, bro, but, like, put it this way, like, if I saw an 11-year-old, my instinct will not be, it may be to give him a cup of lemonade if I have an extra one and it's a really hot day out and I'm not going to drink it. I'll just be like, here, bro, like, you're hooping, like, stay refreshed, and then I'll walk away. But I'm not then going to be like, hey, you like lemonade? You know what else is cool? Fucking chicks and putting a couple $100 down on like a money line. The fuck? What am I talking to you about that for? I have nothing. Lev, I would genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, love to like have a conversation with you one day. I really would, because I think it would just be fun, and I just think it would just be cool, right? You're a funny kid. But like, there are a lot of things I'm not going to talk to you about, even if you brought them up to me, because there's like you're a kid, you know? I had a FaceTime with one of you guys the other day. Like a month or two ago, we talked about Operation Make Motherfuckers' Dreams Come True, where like some of you guys and your parents have like invited me to grad parties or like birthday parties or things like that, and or like requested videos for your significant other's birthdays where I just like talk for 10 minutes, and I do them for free. If you ask, I'll fucking do it. If I have the time to do it, I'll do it for free. I did a FaceTime with one of you guys the other day. It was amazing. It was so much fun. I really genuinely enjoyed it. And I think he and his girlfriend did too, just to omit names and be respectful to all parties involved here. I believe that both people, I think everybody involved really enjoyed it. But like, there were things that like I wasn't just gonna like, I don't know how to say. I think I'm just being too on the nose, or not too on the nose, but I think I'm just kind of saying the same thing over and over again. Is he a bad guy? Maybe not a bad guy, but not a guy that you have any reason to hang out with. You want a free chessboard? Christmas is in like 6 months. Well, aren't you guys? What's is it Kwanzaa? Hanukkah? Which one is it? Dreidel, I made it out of clay. What is it? I just remember looking at your brother's like congratulatory board for graduation. I saw a lot of Mazel Tov on there. Am I thinking of Kwanzaa? Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. What's the menorah? Hanukkah. You get like 80 days of presents for that. Ask for a chessboard then. Wasn't your birthday? You already had your birthday this year, didn't you? You don't need it from some stranger in the park, bro. Go to Goodwill. Get it for like $5. Don't hang out with this guy, Lev. I'm like getting weirdly protective of you. I don't want you to hang out with strangers. Let's try to do one more email, folks. copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. You know, since the Lakers have gotten sold, we've gotten like basically this email like 6 or 7 times now. And this is just, I've ignored it every time, but this is the most recent example of it. And just to end the show on something hoops related, because that's the thing about Lev, man. Every time he emails into the show, we just start talking about something completely different. Although I guess that is sort of the nature of the show, Lev. So I don't want that to come off as in a mean way, because I sort of do that to myself all the time. But you really put my brain in a pretzel with some of the stuff that you try to talk to me about. This one comes into us from Owen. Owen, welcome to the show. Subject line: Lakers sale conspiracy. Good afternoon, Nick. Long time, first time. That is, in fact, part of the surprisingly large conglomerate of Owens that listen to this show. I've been stewing over this theory ever since the Lakers were sold a couple of weeks ago and figured it would be a good way to make my copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program, debut. I have yet to see it floated, but to be fair, I'm not on Twitter or Instagram anymore, so it could have been there for all I know. Just to break the email, the copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, yada, yada, yada. Debut, amazing bit. When I read that earlier today, nasal exhale, I real life LOL'd. Very funny. Back to the email. So, the Lakers sell for what I understand to be a surprisingly high amount. No way they would have sold for that much before the Luka trade, given that they had one of the bleakest futures in basketball, post-LeBron plus AD, and no guarantee of another star falling in their laps. Keeping in mind that the Buss family owned arguably the league's most profitable organization for over the past 50 years, one of the teams that is often given credit for revitalizing a struggling league in the 80s, surely they had a favor that they could call in from the association, right? So here's what they did with said favor. The Buss family wanted to increase the value of the family's crown jewel, the Lakers, and then cash in on it. To do this, they set up a trade with the NBA and the Dallas Mavericks where the Lakers would get Luka and stuff, while the Mavs get AD, flag, and stuff. This, of course, under the assumption that the NBA lottery is not random, which is absolutely true, and I cannot be convinced otherwise. And then in parentheses, you said no argument from you on that, I'm sure. Close parentheses. Nico Harrison plays the part of acting like an idiot to throw people off the scent, while actually extending the time his team has a star player by 8 or so years. While the Lakers all of a sudden become a much sexier team to potentially own. Seems pretty win-win and thus must be looked into. 2 potential details that could be pointed out to disprove the theory. Number 1, quote, the sale probably began far before the Luka trade, unquote. Sure, but they could have cooked up a sale if they landed a star and a different sale if they didn't. 2, AD and Kyrie both got injured after the trade. Who knows if they would have even been in the lottery if they both played the rest of the season. It's a good point, and all I can say in response to that is that the Mavericks were a play-in team with Luka on the roster, so maybe they anticipated falling out of the play-in after the trade or planned on taking the play-in games if not. If this is what happened, would you still feel the same way about Nico Harrison? Personally, if we are strictly looking on paper, I would rather get the haul that the Mavericks got over what the Lakers got. But as an OKC fan, I'm admittedly not the biggest Luke fan. Now, brother, you sent in a whole, I just want to say this to you specifically. You sent in, there's a whole part 2 of this email. It's about something completely different. Will you just bump this email and we'll read it in a different episode? Because it's just too hard of a zag, and I just want to focus on one thing. But I do think the other stuff that you talked about here is important, and I would just rather cover it in a different episode. So feel free to just be like, to just reply to your own email and be like, bump. Okay. you kind of just like used all of the points that I was going to make, but then like were really dismissive of them as if like they're not real. So, okay, the Lakers get sold for $10 billion, a little over $10 billion. So the idea here is that the only reason that they got sold for as much as they did is because the Luka trade happened. What was it, 10.25? Arbitrarily, we will say it is 10.25. Ballpark, it's around there anyways. If the Luka trade didn't happen, you know how much the Lakers get sold for? 10? Probably just 10 flat. Maybe like 9.75. Like, you talk about maybe this sale was going on for longer than that. It had been. What was the guy's name? Walter? Dog, he had purchased what was the stake that he purchased like a year or two ago? Like, this wasn't just something that happened under our noses. Like, this had kind of been expected for a while. We just didn't know when exactly the buses were going to get out and like what the actual figure was going to be. You talk about like the NBA lottery is not random, something that you didn't think you would get any pushback from me on. I hate to devastate you. I don't think it was fixed. I really don't want to do this again because it's just like, gotta talk about the lottery not being rigged again. But it's your email, brother, and this is your segment, so I want you to get the full experience. Yeah, man, that's like kind of what the lottery is for, is like anybody can win. And like you can make the argument that the teams that are at the top of it should actually have like, I don't know, this is why I don't want to fucking talk about it. Because I don't want to talk about like, oh, well, like a team like Washington shouldn't be the worst team in the league. The Jazz shouldn't be the worst team in the league. And they just get absolutely hoed and they fall to 5 and they fall to 6. Like that stinks. But if you weight the odds even more, then you're just incentivizing tanking and blah, 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 blah. That's not what I want to talk about here. The point being, yeah, the Mavs only had like a 1.5% chance to win the lottery. That's a 1.5% chance. That's not 0. That means that it can happen. More often than not, since the turn of the decade, teams that like actually didn't have that good of a chance to win the lottery did. Atlanta was like in the play-in last year. They won the lottery. Got a conspiracy to cook up for me on that? Or did that one just happen? Was that one just random? Is it random sometimes and fixed other times? There are like fixed outcomes in sports. I believe that happens. But like the Luka trade was so dumb and so shocking that like anything that came after it, the distant or immediate aftermath of that trade would like just result in people going ultra conspiracy mode because there was like no other way to explain what the fuck just happened. What's one rational way to explain what the fuck just happened? The Adelsons and Patrick Dumont didn't know what they were buying, or they did know what they were buying. They didn't care what they were buying. They just saw it as a cash cow, as like a revenue stream. And then they saw a guy like Luka, and they were like, we don't want to have to pay him a $350 million contract extension. Get him the hell out of here. And Nico Harrison had to be the one to fall on his sword. Like, that's something that I don't know if people have stomached yet. I don't know when it's going to be. It could be in a year. It could be in 5 years. God forbid this all goes well for Dallas and he's the GM for 10 more years, right? But I'm telling you, there's going to be a day where, whether it's like a story in The Athletic or the New York Times, or he gets his own documentary, there will be a new narrative that is spun on behalf of Nico Harrison, where he is expressly saying, yeah, dog, a gun was to my head, and like, you know, there were these reports that Luka and I didn't get along and blah, blah, blah. But like, nah, I had to do what I had to do because like ownership had the knife to my throat and I was just a good soldier and I ate it while everybody in America did fire Nico chants for 100 damn years. I just ate it and I was a good soldier. It's going to be bullshit. It's going to be wrong. No one's going to believe it, but people will care. I can't say no one's going to believe it because people will be like, oh, you guys fucking ridiculed this man. Because the further removed that we get from this Luka trade, the more that people will do revisionist shit. They will forget and they will lie. Don't let anybody ever tell you anything other than it was the single worst trade in the history of American sports, period. I do not believe that that trade was facilitated just so the Lakers could make, what, an extra 100 milli? It's the fucking Lakers, bro. It's the Lakers. It is potentially the most, if not one of the 5 most recognizable brands in global sports. They didn't need Luka Doncic. Yes, what can be, because 2 things can be true. 1, they didn't need Luka to get sold for $10 billion. What is also true is, like, it doesn't hurt that now the future is secured, so to speak, right? So, like, as an actual asset, business-wise, the Lakers aren't just a dumpster fire because, like, motherfucking Luka's here, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Even if Luka wasn't there, merchandising alone, ticket sales alone, the Lakers could be 0-81, and the 82nd game of the year is still going to be a sellout. You know what I mean? It's the Lakers. Oh, it was fixed? Again, like, you're, like, calling shit out and then, like, dismissing it like it's not real. Do you remember Anthony Davis's, like, first game for the Mavs? In the first half, he was the best player in the world. Do you guys remember that this year when for one half in one game, Anthony Davis was the best player in the world? And then he got hurt again. And then he got hurt again. And then he misses a bunch of time. And then they, Dallas is in the play-in. Kyrie's knee is gone. But, like, who were they playing? Memphis? And if they won that game, they would have been in the playoffs. That was a pretty dangerous game that Dallas was playing to get one game away from not actually being in the lottery. You know? It's not like any shenanigans happened in that game. It's not like Joey Crawford, like, came back from the dead and officiated that game and made sure that Dallas... No, they were just banged up. They fucking were hurt. Nobody was playing in that game, and they sucked. So, like, I don't know. When New Orleans won the lottery, they had like a 1.5% chance. It just kind of happens. That's like the point of the lottery. I don't know. I just feel bad that I'm like only kind of being like, this is dumb. But I'm not trying to say you're dumb, but like you're not. But I don't believe this. I don't believe it. I just think the Lakers would have gotten sold for this much anyways. And it's not just you, by the way. It's not just you. This is like a popular theory. So like a lot of people believe this. I just think it's crazy. And I think it's like, I'm not trying to make it deeper than it is, but like, I just think it's a reflection of how distrustful we are as like a global culture of everything. How skeptical we are of everything. Whether it's like, I mean, it's not even just about like governments. It's or like media. You know, like we can't even believe that like a dumb thing can happen in sports. I don't know. I think a really fucking insane thing happened in the NBA this year that was so inexplicable that the only way that it could be explicit would be to go into like tinfoil hat ultra conspiracy mode. When I think what happened was like we saw an ownership group that cheapened out, and we saw a GM that had his reasons for making the move, and was then handed, I mean, the get out of jail free of all get out of jail free cards. Truly. And then to have the audacity to go up there during the Cooper Flag inductory press conference and be like, hopefully fans will start to see this was the vision all along. Bitch, you had a 1.5% chance. This was not part of the plan. The contingency to trading Luka Doncic was not, we're going to get Cooper Flag. You thought you were going to the playoffs, dog. So shit like that, he's an idiot, but I also think there's the piece of it where it's he might just be a really good soldier. Both of those things can be true, by the way. So, folks, to be honest with you, I've got about 15 other things I would like to talk about, but it's been an hour and a half. So we're going to get out of here. I did ask you guys, we'll do this really quick. I asked you guys in the last episode, Spotify listeners, to give me some super reprehensible behavior that you participated in as a kid. So very quickly, my example was when I was a little kid in grocery stores in the produce aisle, where the meat was. I would poke holes in the plastic wrapping of ground beef. That's so fucked up. That's horrible. Never got in trouble, never got caught doing it, but looking back on it, really bothers me because that's just a horrible and such a wasteful thing to do. So I wanted you guys to give me some really wicked things that you guys did as kids. Let's check the Spotify comments here. This one says, I had a dead fly collection that I would hide behind our couch, and my mom moved the couch and found it, and there was probably at least 50 flies on the windowsill behind the couch. Starting off with probably the one that's going to win, because that's insane. The truth is the one that actually won, I'm not reading because it's fucking horrible. And I don't even want to say even a little bit about it because I don't want to make the guy feel bad, but it was really gross. And it wasn't that. It wasn't even collecting dead flies. I did kill a fly with my fist the other day. That felt amazing. You talk about just a testosterone rush. This one, I had a phase as a kid where I would slice from the butter stick and eat it by itself. Not for long, but that's nasty as hell. I also had a thing about touch and texture, but it didn't result in much foolery. Eating a little bit of butter. Yeah, it's weird, but it's not that's just some dumb shit a kid would do, This one, my absolutely deplorable habit as a child was when I'd get really mad at a game, I would bite the top section of my DS. I still have one of them. There are literally bite marks all over the top of my DS screen. The ironic thing is that when my dad would yell at me for it, it made the habit 10 times worse. I think I had I hope this doesn't make you feel bad when I say this. I had too much respect, I think, for my electronics. My PSP was like a Bible. And I couldn't stomach. If I got mad, I guess I just didn't really rage like that. I didn't really rage. But my technology, any electronics that I had as a kid, my iPod touches that I would have or anything like that, were so sacred. And if anything happened to them, bite marks even would. I can't even, I would probably have a breakdown if there was even a crack in my screen. I never had a Nintendo DS, but but that is what we were looking for, I guess. So that is a good one. We'll do one more. Yeah, that's a fucked up one. That's a boogers one. Let's not do the boogers one. Let's see. I did almost the same thing, referring to me poking the meat plastic. But I never poked a real hole in the ground beef. I would poke holes in toilet paper. Oh, but that's so tame. You would poke holes in the toilet paper. I'm a grown-ass man. I still do that. I still go to the grocery store. Dude, if I go to Target, I go to Walmart, I go to Meijer, I go to Aldi, I go to Trader Joe's, I go to Whole Foods, I go to Mariano's, I go to Jewel Osco. If I'm in the toilet paper aisle, is that still bad behavior if I'm still poking holes in the toilet paper, like the plastic? I don't know. Because my logic is like, if you do it in the top, well, some people do that anyways to like almost as like a handle, you know, to like carry it. I don't know. Am I wrong for doing that? Should I have grown out of that by now? Who cares? That's so harmless. Whatever. Who cares? Spotify question this week. Even if you're not American, you have to answer this question. You don't have to. I don't care about it. The question this week is similar to what we did at the beginning of the episode. You don't have to give me 10 things. You can just give me one. Coolest thing about America. If you are tongue-in-cheek about it, you're a hack. So don't talk about healthcare. Don't talk about guns. Don't talk about mass shootings. Don't talk about that shit. Shut up. Give me a real one. I took it seriously. I'm almost more interested if there's somebody who's not from America. Thanks for... You know what they would probably say? They'd say, thanks for inventing culture. They'd say, thanks for inventing every movie I ever watched as a kid and every television show I watched as a kid. You're welcome. To that, we as a country say, you're welcome. Rest of the world. Okay. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I love you. If you're watching this on Apple Podcasts, what's up? What's up? My heart wasn't really in that one. Could you feel that? I really just wasn't in it when I said what's up the second time. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. I will catch you guys in the next one.